Hi, I'm Peggy Farron, and we are live with the Understand Photography Show, where we talk about travel, nature, and fine art photography. Today's guest is Kelly Walkotten, who is a travel photographer, so stay tuned. We're going to talk about her trips in India and Nepal, all kinds of cool stuff. But first, remember our motto at Understand Photography is we simplify the technical. So if you're the type of person who likes things shown to you in a step-by-step manner with lots of pictures and videos and here, press here and that kind of stuff, then you'll like our classes. We try to start everyone out with the 4 weeks to proficiency in photography. It's a 4-week online class, but it's live. So I'm there with you while you're watching that class. I'm there. You can say, hey, I can't find the dial. I'm going to answer you right away, okay? So you're going to learn to shoot in manual in the very first class. You're going to learn composition, lighting, including flash photography, and then what I call the techie stuff is the last class. You'll have homework so that the information will really seal itself into your brain. So our next class starts May 2nd. That's next week, next week, whatever, May 2nd. You can find the information on understandphotography.com, just clicking on the training tab. And you can check out our other online classes while you're there. If you're coming to, by the way, if you're coming to Southwest Florida or you live here, Joe Fitzpatrick and I wrote a book called Florida Photo Spots, Naples and Collier County. Did you notice I had to look at the name of the book? It's long, but it's a guidebook. It's got the coordinates of all the different cool places to photograph and what it's good for, what time of day, that kind of stuff. So welcome to the Understand Photography Show. Hopefully you're watching this live on the Understand Photography Facebook page. We are live at 4 p.m. Eastern Time every Friday. Then we put the video on YouTube every Monday. And also on Monday, we put it as a podcast on iTunes. So hopefully you'll subscribe, comment, like, review us, everything like that. Today's show, we're going to talk with Kelly Walkotten. Kelly is a travel and nature photographer, wildlife more, I would say.
Yeah.
So you travel a lot, and you're going to share some of your insight with us today. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And she's a fellow Michigander.
Yes, I am.
I'm a former gander.
Yes, I'm still there part of the time.
And you're 50-50, you're toes in Michigan and Florida, right?
Yes, I am. I'm a little bit more now Florida than Michigan.
And who can blame you?
Yeah, if they warm it up there, I probably do a little more time there, but I tend to bail out when it gets cold.
I don't blame you, man. I do not like to be cold.
Oh, I hate that. The older I get, the worse it gets. I used to ski and do all that stuff, but now I'd rather stick my toes in the sand and boat and see the wildlife.
Me too.
Yeah.
I love Florida. So let me ask you this. Which came first for you, the traveling or the love for photography?
The traveling came first, and I'm a scuba diver as well.
Okay.
So I started underwater, and I traveled. I took my first long-distance trip. I went to Fiji. And everybody kept saying, well, why do you got to go to Fiji to dive? So I thought I would show, what the differences were, hence the photography. My pictures were so bad. They were so bad. So I trashed everything, took tons of courses, and everything evolved from there.
Wow.
So I've traveled all my life. I've traveled as a child even.
Really?
Yeah, I did. My parents used to travel, and they would take my brother and I. So, yeah, it's kind of in my blood.
You can't stop.
I can't. About every 4 weeks, I start climbing walls going, where am I going next? I got to go somewhere.
That's awesome, I think.
It is. It's fun. But, if people say, do you ever stay home? Well,
Well, your kids are grown.
They are. That's exactly.
What do you need to be there for?
I don't. They don't need me anymore.
I know. So you just took a trip in the fall to India and Nepal. Is that right?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
But you don't have your pictures up yet.
I don't. They're all edited finally. I'm ready to go. Yes, I'm edited, and now it's time to put the story with that. And I should have them up. I hope to have them up in the next 4 weeks. So I'll get that going.
So you have all the people watching this show. We're all going to be checking your website, which is kellywalkottenphotography.com, right?
Yes, it is.
And we'll put that in the show notes, by the way. And Now you have pressure.
I do. Now I have to get it done, don't I?
I know how it feels, though. That's the hardest part about digital photography is all the editing.
Yes, and I agree. And the editing is so time consuming, and yet the control is so nice.
I know.
You know, how many times have you brought your film in, and if it started outdoors, they developed the whole roll as if you had taken it outdoors. And especially underwater, it really messed me up sometimes. Or they would think that because you're underwater, it's all supposed to be blue, which means you didn't take the lights down and didn't do things properly. And you know, I'd look at it and go, you guys didn't develop this right, you got to do it again. And over at times. So now at least I have the control.
Yeah.
But with that control comes time.
I know. That's the thing.
Yeah.
When we went digital, the world, I was so excited. I loved it. And then now I'm like, oh my gosh.
I know. It's labor intensive and it's a labor of love.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of a control freak when it comes to that. So I do like the fact that I can get it right back to how I saw it, no matter what the camera captured it at, especially if the lighting gets, you know, odd and stuff. At least I can get it back.
Now, how long were you gone?
I was gone over 3 weeks.
Wow. And how many pictures did you take?
Oh, I tried not to count because then my husband will say, well, how many pictures do you need? And this way I don't have to answer that question because I don't know how many I took, but I'm sure I took probably 10,000 pictures.
Did you watch the show last week with Clyde Butcher?
I did.
3 weeks in Spain. Did you hear how many pictures
I
he
can't
took?
remember how many he
130.
said. No way. Oh, sure, because he's shooting with film and he's shooting large format.
But still.
But
I don't think he did. I think he did it in digital.
Did he do digital? 130? Yeah. I need to take lessons from Clyde.
Every shot is intentional.
Yeah?
Like, wow, because I know I'm not that way at all.
No. Because, yeah, I like the street life and the people life.
And you have to take a lot of shots to get a good one sometimes.
You do. And especially when you're trying to be discreet. If when you walk up and ask people if you can take their picture, they pose and do all this goofy stuff, you know. And I want them interacting with their friends they're with or doing what they're doing, not giving me the peace sign.
Well, let's go with that for a minute because I never thought, except like when I was a teenager, I've never been shy. Okay?
Sure.
Except for when I don't know how to go up to somebody and say, "Hey, can I take your picture?"
Yeah.
So tell me how to do that. Teach me how to do that.
Well, you know, you got first of all, if you're dealing in another country, there can be a language barrier.
Oh yeah.
Especially when you're dealing with older people. They don't necessarily, the younger generation tends to be more multilingual in different languages than the older generation. So the first thing I will do is I'll point at my camera and smile. Okay, smile. That's universal.
Okay.
Doesn't matter where you are, everybody gets the smile.
Okay.
So I always, very happy and smiling and, can I take your picture? And they'll either tell me yes, and I do have some that tell me no. And then there's some cultures that, they believe that their spirit is taken from their body, literally, if you take their picture. So in that regard, you got to be really respectful with them. And if they tell me no, the answer is no. I'm not going to offend somebody or be that ugly American. So, you always ask first, or if I am doing street work, I will put on a long lens. That way I am away from them and unobtrusive, and hopefully they don't see, what I'm doing.
Right.
Yeah.
So if they do see you, though, and you ask them, and they say, okay.
Yes.
And then how do you get them to not give you the peace sign and the cheesy smiles?
I'll always take that one first, and then I'll show them the picture, and then I'll say, another one. And once you show them on the digital, that's the beauty of digital, is you can show them on the back, and they love to see their pictures. I find that everywhere I go, they love to see their pictures. And so I'll show them that picture, and then when they want to redo it with a peace sign, I'll ask them, no hands or, hands down, and they will, because they already got the shot that they wanted me to take of them. So now it's my turn to get the shot that I would like to take of them.
Okay.
So that's how I can get around that. So yeah, you take some extra shots, but it's digital, it's not film.
That's good. I like that. I like that. So, all right, let's go back to starting. Let's start from the beginning.
Okay.
So now you have traveled extensively, and you have photographed all over the world.
I have.
So what's the first step, like equipment-wise? Is there something that you have to have every time? Do you have a lightweight camera? Do you have what? Tell me the story.
I'm using a heavy camera, and because I print big, I show and I do programs, and I also show in galleries.
You sell your art as fine art.
I do.
Okay.
And so there's times when I exhibit, and I'm exhibiting a wall-size piece. So I need the sensor
And when you say
sizes.
wall size, you mean like 40 by 60?
Yes.
Huge, big.
Huge, big.
Okay.
So I need the big camera for that. I need the big sensor for that. And you're not getting that big sensor on a small camera. I also don't like anything with a delay. I don't have the patience for that. It seems like when I click that shutter, I want that picture now, not a half a second later.
Right.
And it drives me crazy. So I eliminated those early on. Now my understanding is that some of those now have gotten much quicker. So that's nice. But I do take a full frame camera with me.
You're a Nikon shooter?
I'm a Nikon shooter, and I take a full frame. And then I take, I have 3 lenses that I typically travel with. I travel with a nice wide angle, but I travel not with a fixed, with a zoom, so that I can, you know, like 17 to 24 or 12 to 24.
Okay.
And then I take a 35-70, which is a good mid-range lens for me. And then I take a nice long lens, an 80 to 400. 80 to 400. Yes.
Wow. Okay.
So there's my 3 lenses right there.
Those are with you every trip.
Every trip.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your tripod?
My tripod. No, yes, a tripod is always with me.
Okay.
Yep. Yep.
What
and
else
then
is always with you?
always with me. Multiple travel hard drives.
Oh.
Okay.
Now, when you say travel hard drives, what do you mean?
I have the kind that you can drop them and they aren't gonna die on you.
So, are they called travel hard drives?
No, they're what are they called? They're
Just a portable hard
just a little portable hard drive.
But are there some specific that you
There
can,
are some specific.
you can
ones.
throw them on the floor?
Yes, they come. They're bright colored and they got this plastic casing around them, and you pay a little bit more for those. But you never know what's going to happen if they get bounced around or knocked around.
So how many do you bring? Well, it
2.
depends on the trip, I guess.
No, I bring 2, and I bring usually they're a couple terabytes a piece. I know.
Why do you bring them so big?
Well, because I do my editing as well, so I want to make sure I have enough. And then I'm shooting in RAW. And then if I'm editing in the evening I've been known to stay up at night and edit half the night away. So I have that, and I can back it up as well. I just have plenty of space so that things don't bog down. Terabyte now is what, $89? 2 terabytes is $129. I just make sure I have enough.
Yeah, okay.
That way I have enough. I don't have to worry about it. It's all
Yeah.
good.
So you
And
bring your laptop on every
I bring a
trip.
laptop on
Okay.
every trip as well. So something lightweight. The big key is that whole system, the camera, the lenses, the laptops, all of that have to fit in an overhead bin in the airlines.
And be less than
I don't
however
really-
much weight.
Supposedly, but I really don't have trouble with them weighing my stuff.
With the carry-ons, maybe they don't. I don't know. You travel a lot more than I do.
I have not. I took 4 internal flights in India. Nobody ever weighed my bag. I took 6 when I went to 6 internal flights into China. No one weighed my bag. And I was told that the Maldives, when I went this past winter, was really picky. Nobody weighed my bag. I know. Well, I don't make it look heavy either. And I don't ask for help to put it in the bin because then it might be heavy. Where's your clue? So, I tend to try to handle it myself and make it look real light and easy, and I can handle this, no matter how heavy it might be.
I bought a laptop last year because I was going to Italy and Ireland. So I thought, I'm going to get a new laptop. I need a new laptop anyway. And so I researched best travel laptop because I'm a Windows person.
Okay.
And it's really thin, but it's heavy.
Really?
I was like, what the heck?
Oh my goodness.
But I guess the battery, it's got like a 9-hour battery
that's
life.
why.
Which I told you my story. I was so excited during the hurricane.
Yes.
Because I thought I can watch videos for 9 hours and there's no DVD player in the thing. I didn't know.
It's all battery now. Yeah.
All right, so what about, so you got your
There's
gear.
my gear.
that's the base.
That's the
I'm sure
base.
you bring other things too.
I do.
Battery
There's-
chargers and
Exactly. Yeah. Make sure you got chargers, enough cards.
And
you know, I carry enough cards too, because who knows when you get back to your room. You know, what if you end up with a side trip or something very, very cool and you run out of card?
What do you think about, do you use large cards or do you use several medium size or
Several
smaller
medium
cards?
size.
So do I.
Yeah.
I'm always worried that one of them is going to go corrupt.
Yeah. Have you had them go corrupt before?
Oh, I've had many,
So
many,
have I.
many go corrupt. Now, most
Exactly.
of the time they can save them with the card or
Yeah.
recovery software, but still,
Exactly.
what if they can't?
Yeah. And then you've lost it.
That's
And-
one of the things that I'm really annoyed with Canon about, because we only have one slot on most of our
Oh, do
cameras.
you? Oh, I didn't realize that. See, I
Isn't
have a
that
dual
There's
slot.
only one Canon, I think, that has two slots.
Okay, yeah,
Isn't
I'm a
that
dual
stupid?
Yeah.
That's like so behind the times.
It is. Because, yeah, it just gives you so much more because it just kicks over. My Nikon kicks right over. And being an underwater photographer, I have to deal with water issues as well.
Oh, yeah.
I've had more than one flood. And thank goodness those cards tend to survive those.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I've flooded cameras and not had any problems with the cards. I picked up cards off the deck, I dropped it in the salt water, dry them out, put them in, and I can read them. So it's been awesome. But yeah, I have had cards go corrupt. And
Yeah.
yeah, so I don't like, yeah, what are you going to do when, 500, 600 pictures just
Are
went corrupt?
gone. I know.
Yeah, you
I
can't
would-
recreate
Yeah,
them.
because I think if you can buy a camera with the two slots and just take double picture,
Yeah.
backing it up every single time,
Every
that's
single
the
time.
best.
Yep.
That's the best thing.
Exactly.
All right, so what about, did you have a carrying case, like a specific one, or do you?
I use a think tank and I use a rollaway. I'm old.
You're
It's
old.
getting hard to put all that crap on my back and carry around.
Tell me about it.
It's getting really, yeah, it just, I find I'm just so tired by the end and I'm just so worn out. So I do take a rollaway now with me. I do have a backpack and I went to a small one in case I couldn't roll it.
Uh-huh.
But, many places you can. And I'll just take a nice small roll and take that. I just find it easier. It's just less wear and tear on my body.
And the think tanks are really safe.
They are, and they're padded, and they're made to go in that airline, in that overhead. And so I stick with that.
I don't
I've
know if
had
I
good luck.
I wonder if I could pick that up over my head. If you have your laptop, you got those 3 big lenses. Do you bring 2 cameras?
Yeah, I usually
So you
have
have
2
2
bodies.
cameras.
2 bodies, yeah. Yeah, it's
heavy.
heavy. It's heavy. That's the big thing. But when I go on a big trip, a lot of times my husband doesn't go with me. He thought he was going to die in India. He was just convinced he was going to eat the food, he was going to get sick, he was going to die, and that was going to be the end of it. So he sent me to go die by myself. So I did. And yeah, you can't depend on other, people. Also, people that want to travel with you if they have to sling all your stuff as well as their stuff. So I truly, I go to the gym and I go about 3 months before a big trip and I work out. I lift weights, I do cardio, I do the whole thing just so that I can keep up. And being a female, a lot of the travel is male, and I'm not going to drag behind. My
Yeah.
pride isn't going to let me do that.
Yeah.
So, I do prepare.
It's interesting you said that, because that's part of the thing why I started exercising so much. It's like in order to live the life I want, I need to
Yes.
be in better shape
Exactly.
than I am.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
because I'm not very strong.
Yeah.
I got to get stronger.
Stronger. There you
I'll be
go.
like
Because
you.
yeah, I can lift that thing and put that thing up there. And I had people try to help me and say really some choice things about how heavy that bag is. And it's like, shh, don't tell.
Now, when you went to India, did
Yeah.
you go by yourself, or did you go with a photography group or friend, or?
I went with a group, and this is the first group trip that I took. I did a photography group when I went to China. I've done 16 weeks in Indonesia, and I went on my own by myself. Again, he was going to die there, so
16?
I went 3 different trips, a 6, what did I do, a 6, and a 4, or something like that, where it worked out 16 weeks, but it was 3 trips, and but yeah, I went by myself.
I guess you like it there.
I love it. The diving there is pretty cool, yeah. One more time, I think I want to go back.
Oh
But
my gosh.
yeah. So, I did go with an organized group to India. Again, we had heard so much about how it wasn't safe and et cetera, et cetera. Well, I didn't have any trouble, but I also the group kind of picked. There's advantages and disadvantages. I didn't have the trouble that some people have. But I also didn't get into some of the places that I really wanted to, the tent cities that are there. Now, I would have spent days wandering in the tent city, and my group was like, absolutely not. We're not, you know.
How big a group?
Oh, there's only 16 of us.
Okay.
But the tour itself was kind of a clean hands tour.
Right, right.
So because of that, whereas had I been by myself.
And was it a photo tour or no?
No.
No. Oh,
No.
okay.
First time non-photo tour as well.
You know what though? I went to Italy for a month, and then I went on a bus tour in Ireland, and it was same thing. It was a Catholic tour. It wasn't anything to do with photography, but it was kind of refreshing, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
I still took pictures, but I didn't worry about it. You know.
I know, and I had looked at a photo group, but the photo tours, I wanted to be in the. I wanted to be into the national parks. I was after, you know, tigers was one of my highlights. Things like that they weren't doing, or they were doing, but they were only going in for a day. Where we stayed for 3 days, and people had a choice. They could go into the village if they wanted to, or they could stay on safari if they wanted to. And I liked those choices. I had longer choices, and a photo tour, no one was going for that long. They weren't going into all the different, because I went up to Nepal too, you know, so they weren't doing some of the stuff that I wanted to do because of the cost and the length of the trip. I don't know if they maybe couldn't get people to go for that long.
Yeah, yeah. I know. Well, you lead photo trips, so
I do.
do we, and we don't usually have long ones because
No, people don't go.
it's hard to sell them.
Yeah, it's hard for people to get off of work
Yeah.
and all kinds of things, you know. So there's a lot of conflicts there. So this one was a little bit different, and that's why I chose this one. I liked the tour, and I liked all of that, but not necessarily. It's not like that's the only way I'll travel.
Yeah,
But
you're a little bit limited.
I was
Well,
a
there's
bit
pros
limited.
and cons to everything, right?
Always.
So what was your overall impression of is Nepal really different than the rest of India?
Yeah, it was.
Like
it
how?
Was. It was. Oh, there's a lot of very populous places in India. Nepal was. I can't even remember how many million lived in Nepal, but it was just packed in Nepal. The evidence of their major earthquake that they had a few years ago was still there. They had still crumbling buildings. They still had people living in like blue tarps in empty lots because their buildings weren't fixed yet. You know, it's a call center of the world. Do you have any technical issues?
In Nepal?
Nepal or India.
Oh, I knew India, but India
my-
and the Philippines is what I always.
Yeah. Oh, you should see the power lines and everything. There's just like bundles of power lines that have to be 24 inches in diameter, and they're
Like
just
that movie.
hanging.
Did you see the movie?
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
the name of that movie?
Slumdog?
No. It was about a guy who they moved his whole call center to India, and they said you can either lose your job or move to India. So
Okay.
he moved to India.
Oh my goodness,
and
I didn't see that
It
one.
was such a great
I'll have to look
movie.
that up.
What's the name of it? I
Yeah,
forget.
I don't know.
Doggone it. When I figure the name of it, I'll put it in the show notes
There you
for
go.
everybody.
All right. Yeah, monkeys are all over the wires, and I mean, this is modern tech. I was just blown away. It was so
so
weird.
cool.
It was very cool. And of course, you got the mix of religions that go into there. It really was an incredible place. And then Nepal also is what they consider the jump stop or base, you know, the before you start your hike to the Himalayas. So there was, you know, lots of clothing stores to outfit them, outfitting stores.
Oh, yeah.
They were gearing up for their season when I was there, so Sherpas were coming in. Yeah, it was really interesting.
Wow.
It was very cool.
All right, so let's go back to India.
Yep.
What were some of the best, like, pictures that you took, or what, like, where would, like, not to be missed spots, or favorites?
Favorites. Taj Mahal blew me away. I'm not into architecture. I don't really. I just stood there and looked at it before it took me a long time to pull the trigger on the camera. I just stood there. And then I was so intrigued with it that I made arrangements to go back the next morning, got up super early, was the first person in line, had hired a guide to help me get where I needed to be, scoped it out beforehand. So I got pictures with no people in them either, which was really cool. So that's something to remember, you know, do your homework, and a lot of places offer things like that, or you can find a local who will take you, or ask, how do I get here early, and do that, because a lot of places offer that or make that available, or it's a fee, and, you know, over in countries like India and Indonesia and places like that, their fees are not high. I hired a private guide inside of a national park in Indonesia, and the fee was $5 a day.
$5?
Yeah. Wow. And so, and you don't think about that, and you think, oh, well, you know, I'm trying to save some money. Well, he found me things, I told him what I was after, and brought me right to them.
I always hire a guide when I go places.
Always. People don't.
And that's what we do here. I mean, we live in the Everglades.
Yeah.
You know, why would you try to figure out where to go?
Exactly.
I mean, it's huge. That's what, when I went to Tuscany.
Yeah.
How would I know where to go? Tuscany's huge.
Right.
Which hill do I go to?
Exactly. Exactly. So tell them what you want to see, and they'll help you. They'll help that happen for you.
And same thing with Amalfi. Well, the reason I hired a guide in Amalfi, though, was I wasn't going to drive on those cliffs.
Oh, no.
There's no way.
No. I don't even like to go up into the Rocky Mountains and those. Yeah, I go up there I like the little pica, and I like the marmots, and but you know, just give me a Valium and a margarita. Let me wash that down, and I'll lay down in the back seat and tell me when we're up there where I need to be. I just am like, ah! My husband will be driving me, and I'll go, look at that. Don't you dare look, you just watch the road. I'm just a wreck.
You're like me, I tell you. All right, get back to this. Tell me about those favorite memorable shots.
Memorable shots. The tigers.
Now, where did you see tigers?
I went to Bangvagard National Park. There's also another one in South India, and I'm gonna draw a blank on it because I can't pronounce it off the top of my head.
Long
they do
names in
They
India.
do. It starts with a K, and it's well known. Just
but
Google
you didn't
it.
go there.
I didn't go to the south one. I went to the one up more to the north of India, and I went to that national park, and I stayed up there for a few days. Had a safari guide, befriended him immediately. You know, the first thing I did was we were given cookies as a treat. Well, you know, I like cookies, but, you know, I told him I didn't, so I gave him mine.
Oh, smart.
It's the little things, you know, so he determined I was very nice right away and really wanted to be nice back.
That was smart.
Yeah, so, and the guides, too, they talk to each other, so we were tracking tigers, and it took me 5 drives. I ended up missing the village tours because we hadn't gotten the picture I wanted.
So were they driving you around?
Yes, you have to be driven.
And you're just driving, looking
in jeeps, open-air jeeps.
Looking for tigers.
Looking for tigers. There's other wildlife that's there, and there's other things. You know, the tigers eat the deer, so you'll listen when the deer are calling out warning calls. Tigers are probably present, things like that. But the guides all know that, so they can help with that.
So you went out 5 different times before you saw a tiger?
Yeah. Wow. Well, I saw one on the first drive, and then didn't see him for, 3 other drives. And then the last time they were laying down, they were bedded down, and we parked the Jeep and just waited. And eventually they got up, and they walked right literally in front. He turned and looked at me and snarled as if to say, "Don't get out of that Jeep." And I have, you know, teeth and the pictures, and it was so cool.
Oh my God.
I know, it was a real highlight. It was just incredible.
Wow.
And that's what I went for.
Wild tigers.
Wild tigers.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah, I'd like to go back. I'd like to go to both parks and go back and do both and spend more time just
doing tigers.
Tigers. And of course, where there's tigers, there's other wildlife,
Yeah.
you know? So that was cool too. And I photographed the other stuff, even though the tigers are what I was after. I got all 5 species of deer that they had there.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was able to get other stuff and get very, very nice pictures. A lot of monkeys in India.
Monkeys are so cute,
I
though.
think they're just a riot. They think that they're a pest and that they're obnoxious. And so, you know, they just kind of laugh and roll their eyes when I'm photographing the monkeys, but that's okay.
Yeah. Okay, so that's cool. That was cool.
That was very cool. I went to another national park in, what's it called? Chitwan National Park in Nepal, and they have the one-horned rhino.
They have what?
The one-horned rhino, the rhinoceros.
Oh.
Yes, and we did see them. So I was able to photograph those, and I wish I would have read down and reminded myself how many are left in the world, but there's not many. So that was very cool to be able to see those as well.
Are they doing anything to try to?
Oh yeah, they are.
Because, you know, when I moved to Florida, alligators were an endangered species.
Oh, no,
we
not
can't
anymore.
even imagine that now.
No, not anymore.
I mean, they turned that baby around.
Oh, they did, yeah. But
But
yeah, you know, well, look at even the birds down here at one time were hunted to almost extinction just for their feathers.
for the hats, ladies'
Exactly.
hats. Can you
Exactly.
imagine?
No, so yeah, and they're doing a lot in India as well to preserve them, and they're finding that it's bringing in tourism, and of course, whatever it takes to keep them afloat. So the villagers now are making money off the tourism, so they're not so quick to move the tigers out or kill the tigers.
Well, that's good too.
Yeah,
Wow.
and the government will reimburse them if they've lost cattle to it. The government will reimburse them for something like that. So that's helpful too, giving them incentive to try to live peacefully with them.
Now, you were in India. Did you stay in northern India where Nepal is?
Yeah.
And then you moved just kind of the same tour. You went into Nepal?
Yep, went up into
Is
Nepal.
it cold up there?
Yes, it was. It was chilly up there.
The whole place, the whole of India that you saw was cold?
No, I went down. I went all the way down as far as Mumbai.
Oh, you did go
I
down.
did go
some.
down, and it
Okay.
was about 90 in Mumbai, and we were in the 50s and 40s at night in Nepal.
Wow.
So I had 2 sets of clothes with me, lots of layers. So again, you know, check your weather so that you
Yeah.
got the right clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody on our tour chose to wear sundresses the whole time, and she wasn't really comfortable when we were up in Nepal. And
Gosh.
yeah, what do you say?
Well, you'd think of India as being hot,
You do,
but you think of Nepal as being cold.
right?
So she
Well,
knew
she
you
thought
were
just
going-
because it was above India that it had to be warm like India was.
Oh.
So do your homework.
Yeah, that wasn't.
Yeah.
Weather is something I always check because I am such a baby about being cold. If
Yes.
I'm going to go somewhere cold, I am going to be dressed for it.
Exactly, exactly. And I knew we weren't climbing and we weren't doing any of that, so I didn't need
Yeah,
that.
you didn't need hiking clothes.
Well, I did in the parks. I did because we
Oh.
rode an elephant too.
You did?
Yes,
How cool is
isn't
that?
that cool? They use the elephants to get around because it doesn't scare the wildlife away.
Ah, that makes sense.
It did, yes. And then we would see wild elephants too. So it was really intriguing. It was
Yeah, you
just-
think of you need to go to Africa to see all that cool stuff, but it's right there in India too.
Yeah, Asia has
Although India's
Indians,
not right there, it's far.
but it's far from
also
Africa.
far.
Yes, but yes, but you know, Asia also has elephants as well as Africa. So.
Elephants are really, really cool.
They
How was it to
were.
ride it?
Oh, it was cool. It was fun.
They
You know,
used to give, right at the zoo here, they used to have an elephant that they gave elephant rides a long time ago. I've lived here for a long time. Now
Yeah.
they've got a camel,
oh, fun.
or more than one. They
Well, I
give
rode.
camel rides.
Yeah, I went to Dubai this March.
You did camel riding
Yeah,
there?
well, definitely. I got to go ride a camel. I've not
never
ridden
ridden a
Who
camel.
rides a camel? I had to go ride a camel. You know.
That sounds like fun. I
It
know a
was.
lot of my friends have gone to Morocco and
Oh, that would be cool too.
I want to go.
So do I.
Let's go, let's
Big
go,
Photo
let's
trip.
go.
Photo trip.
I'm ready. We'll go plan one first.
Okay. Oh, well, of
two of
course. You
us.
can't just bring people and not.
And then
there we go. We could do that.
I like it. I like it. All right, give me some more.
Yes.
What more favorite shots? Like,
Oh,
if
favorite
I'm going to
shots.
go to India, what should I look for
Um,
as a photographer? Now, I'm not really a wildlife photographer.
Okay.
I'm
Sure.
more of a general photographer.
okay. We'll hit 2 subjects then. People and the buildings. You know, the architecture there is very old. The temples and things. There's a mix of religions there, which was I found very, very interesting. You know, they have a very large Hindu population. They have a very large Muslim population. So we have the temples that go with both of those that were very intriguing. And then they have some other Middle Eastern religions as
Well, they
well.
have Catholic, a lot of.
Yeah, they have
somebody,
they have a
now,
large
this is a
Catholic.
long time ago, but when I worked in Michigan in
Yeah.
the early 90s or late 80s, we had a lot of Indians in our company. And my son was in first grade at Catholic school, and he had to memorize a prayer that I didn't know.
Okay.
And of course, you couldn't just look stuff up on the internet.
Oh yeah,
right?
that didn't. Yeah.
And he didn't bring the piece of paper home. And I was talking to one of the other, my coworkers, and he whipped off the prayer. And I was looking at him. I thought Indians were Hindu. And he goes, Catholic is the second largest religion in India.
Yeah.
Now that was 1990, maybe.
Sure.
So I don't know if that's still true or not. But I was so surprised by that.
Yeah, there were. I saw Christian churches there as well. It was just a real blend. I think what impressed me the most is everybody lived together peacefully.
In India, yeah.
Exactly. So if it was, whatever holiday it was, if it was Christmas, they wished you a Merry Christmas. They might not have been Christian themselves, but they respected and the same thing went during the Muslim holidays. They would go in, if they were fasting, they would say, okay, well then let's go to dinner after sundown or whatever time it was that they could go eat. And I was impressed by that it was just very peaceful.
That's nice.
It was very nice. So buildings, okay, I'm always going to mess this up. Is it Summa Contra or Contra Summa? The sex stuff, okay. I went to Kata Sutra.
Jonah the sex
There
stuff.
we go. Yay. Thank you. The Kata Sutra. I went to that temple. Okay, now that was like 910 BC or something. I mean, this thing is so old, and you can touch it, and you can see all the carvings, and that's how they taught with this. And it was incredible. It was absolutely amazing. The only place I kind of called it quits is when the guide wanted to start explaining what they were doing. It's like, no, we get it. Please, let's not call that. But just the fact that it was so old, and it was, and of course, you have to laugh because every generation has invented that. And, my kids think that they're the first ones to. Yeah. So I'm looking at this and going, look at how old this is. So this is just unbelievable. And it had different, some of them were non-religious temples, and then some were, and it was in this whole complex. And that was really cool to see too. And I think that was in Jaipur, I think where I saw those. You go to Mumbai, and of course, that's a modern city.
And very crowded, right?
Very crowded, yes. But so were some of the other places, very, very crowded.
There's a lot of people in
New
India.
New Delhi was packed as well. And, the beautiful gates to the city that are modern and new with very old buildings interspersed.
Yeah,
and
that's cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. Mumbai was the same. So, the buildings were really cool to see.
Now you were on a bus tour when you were in the city?
Different times I was on a bus tour. Whether we had, usually it was, smaller, the short bus.
So if you're on the short bus.
I'm on the short bus.
Now do you don't lug all that gear around with you the whole time?
I do.
You do, even the long lens?
Long lens. Really? I got it with me. Yep,
Wow.
I take that whole roll-away bag and just plop that thing in there. If there's not room and if I have to put that at my feet, I'm willing to do that because I want to be ready. Otherwise, I'll take probably my 35-70 as my go-to lens.
That is go-to lens.
That's kind of my mid-range go-to lens. So I will take that. And then there's the people. And I love the villages. Sometimes I had to travel to and from by vans. We took a van. We had drivers, cars that drove us. And they had what did they call it? The portaloo or the luxury loo. They had a van that had this bathroom unit in it for us that tailed us so that we had places, that were okay to use.
That's nice.
It was, but
what are the bathrooms like? Are there holes in the floor?
Oh yeah, you're in Asia. There are holes in the floor.
I went to Italy for a month.
Yes.
Which does not have good bathrooms.
Yeah.
And when I went to Ireland, which was only a few weeks later, I was so happy. Such beautiful bathrooms in Ireland.
Yeah, it does get important. Or like where we were traveling, there was no place to stop and use bathrooms.
So they carted a bathroom
used the
with them.
side of the road, So yeah, we all weren't willing to just, drop
awesome.
it. So it was very awesome. So that was really cool. But the people, the village people, I would see in the mornings, first thing in the morning, the women would come out and they all carried a little colorful bag in their hand. Well, come to find out, they were all going to the well. They had one well for the village, and they'd have to pump the water, and you'd see them, they would brush their teeth, and they would wash up in the well. And then you'd see them walk out into the field, and I finally asked one of our guides, where are they going now? They came from this way, they're home. Oh, well, they need to relieve themselves and stuff, and they go in groups so that they're safe. And I thought, oh, that's really sad that they still have to worry about their safety. And yeah, no water into their homes and things like that. The women in India, very prevalent lung disease, and it's because they cook inside and they cook with fire. And they're cooking inside, and so that's a big issue that they're trying to help and alleviate and show them how to vent and do different things too.
Gosh.
Yeah, so
I didn't even know that.
I didn't either. It was something I learned while I was there. So I found them interesting.
And were they open to being photographed in the small villages?
Yes, very much so. Very much so.
Indian people in general, I'm stereotyping, but they are really friendly people.
Oh, you are not stereotyping. They were the friendliest people and some of the happiest people I have ever met. They were welcoming, they were gracious.
Did you see a difference, like here you see a difference in a big city and a small town in the culture?
Yes.
Did you see the same thing in India?
I did. Because, India is a very poor country, but there's also extreme wealth there too.
Yeah.
There's no middle class. They're either very wealthy or they're very poor. So that was a difference. And you could tell that everywhere, anything from the way they dressed to their living, what would be substandard living for us.
Just as friendly though in the cities as they were in the...
They were, because there was time when I'd wandered off from my group. I was kind of good at that, and people would help me right away. They'd see me trying to look at a map, and they would help me and tell me, So that was very nice.
Yeah. Those are the only Indians I know, because those are the Indians that would be living in Detroit. You know what I mean?
Exactly, right.
Or the more educated and
educated,
and
spoke
they were
multiple
just
languages.
The nicest people.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Very, very nice people.
And then of course I've had doctors that are Indians, and everybody seems so friendly.
Everybody is, but I think that's kind of their demeanor and their way. Really, they just very.
But yet, it's not the safest country.
No,
so you have to be careful when you travel.
Yes, yeah, it is poor. So, there are people that have to do whatever they need to do to survive, which is theft and things like that. We didn't see guns and that kind of thing, but pickpockets are pretty prevalent there.
Yeah. So what about the photography, though?
We keep
talking about the travel because it's so exciting.
I know.
We're supposed to be talking about photography.
Well, it is. It's all part of it. It's you got to do your homework. You have to know, because if you don't know about the ways, then you don't know what to photograph.
Good
you
point.
miss things.
So how much homework did you do?
A lot.
Did you really?
Yes, I did. I read.
What did you study? What would you look out for on this, before this trip?
Before this trip,
what specifically are you looking for when you're studying?
I'm looking for, in that area, what is a travel book's telling me what to see.
Okay.
And I go to more than one travel book, because some kind of cater to the high-end travel or the more comfortable travel for us. Some cater to backpacking and roughing it on your way through. I want to see both. So I use more than one reference for that. And I also want to know what's prevalent in the area, or what's that area known for? What do the people do there? I went to a river, and what was known at that river, that is where the people took their loved ones to cremate them, because they don't bury like we do here. So you have to know the story. Once again, what are you looking at? I saw the fire. I saw the bundle.
And do they put them and they float them out to sea like I've seen in the movies?
Sort of, yes. But yeah, they do. And if you didn't know what was going on, I would have missed all of that. And I happened to be sitting across the river, had my long lens because I was away. This is a personal thing, this is non-invasive.
Right.
And it was a young man, adult, I would say probably in his early 30s, had passed. And I don't know what he had passed from, but I had done my study, so I knew what was happening. So I was able to photograph. I photographed his brothers washing him. And I got up close with my lens because, I
You were
could
far
stay
enough
back.
away,
Yes,
400.
yeah, they never knew I was there.
Wow.
Washing him in the water, anointing his body with oil. They put ghee, which is clarified butter because it burns hot. Then they anoint the body in the ghee, wrap it in linen, and then they do set it on fire and they cremate. And then the ashes go down the river. The bone fragments get buried into the river bottom. So, and in the meantime, usually if it's a father that has passed away, the eldest son will shave his head out of respect. So then they've got somebody down at the river shaving his head and putting his hair in. If I hadn't done my homework and didn't know all of this was happening,
Yeah, you'd be like, what the heck are they doing?
Exactly. How do you photograph the story?
Yeah, that's
So
fascinating.
It really is. And so for me, whether it's wildlife photography, I need to know the animal behavior because I need to know what's happening.
So did you study a little bit about the tigers?
I did.
Okay.
I did. So yeah, and you need to know those things. Just even, Florida birding here. If the wood stork's feet are pink, they're in mating season. If they're yellow, they're not. Okay, so you start to watch for that kind of stuff, and people and traditions and all of that. And so that's what I was looking for. I studied a little bit on the Buddhism and on Hinduism because I didn't know, what I was going to see. I saw
Right.
one area where the people all wore the face masks, and we're not in the city. It was not polluted. It was not, didn't have the bad air that is so well known through India. Well, why? Well, because they were Hindu and they were of a belief, of a stricter Hindu belief that they take the life of absolutely nothing. So, they don't eat any kind of animal. They will not eat an egg. They'll eat cheese from the byproduct. But they covered their mouths in masks because they might take the life of a mosquito or a bug.
Wow.
And if you hadn't done your homework, you would
I
not
wouldn't
know
yeah.
these things. So photography-wise, I think it's really important.
That's really good advice. That's advice I've never even heard before. I
Oh.
mean, kind of heard,
Sure.
but you worded it better.
Okay. I'm a simple person. But yeah, so, it's really important to know that. And I do study and I do spend time figuring out the area, everything from weather to customs and to events. I knew that this river, that's what they did there. I didn't realize that with the population I was going to walk up and see all of this. It was very interesting. But again, because I had done that study, I knew what I was seeing, so I was able to photograph it and be able to really capture the story.
And were you just sitting there by yourself? Is that?
I was.
When we were in Cuba once, we saw one of the Santeria, which is one of their religions, it was a river, and they were cutting the young man's clothes off. There were 3 or 4
Okay.
ladies, but it was it's crowded in Havana. So
Yeah.
I was like trying to, but they were like around him
Were
so
they?
that people couldn't really see what was going on.
Sure.
And plus, it was a very heavily wooded area, so
Okay.
there was no good vantage point because I wanted to see. I was so curious.
Well,
but,
exactly. I think that's why I travel, is I just really want to learn about other cultures and other people.
It's fascinating.
It is. It's fascinating. Everything. I mean, what do they do? What do they like to do? What do they like to eat? I had 2 guys from India that came and did a workshop from me. And I first had decided I wasn't going to tell them right away because I had to make sure everything was cool. Well, they were awesome.
What do you mean? Tell them that
I was going to India
oh,
because
you
I wanted to
hadn't
make
been
sure
yet.
that I hadn't been yet.
Okay.
And yes, and so I did get together with them when I was there, and they would like me to come back. I show them places out west here, so they want to show me their tiger parks
Oh,
there.
cool.
So I think I'm going to go back, and I got to meet their families and their wives, and
Oh,
it was fun.
nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
So photography.
They traveled all the way from India for a photo trip here.
They did.
Wow.
They did. Yep, they did one of my workshops that I do.
Wow.
I know, wasn't that cool?
That is cool. You're
And-
so famous.
No, I don't know about that.
People in India.
Well, I
coming
got to
your-
tease them because I get this phone call out of the blue. Hello, my name is Vishal, and I want to send you money because I want to take your shop. I said later, Vishal, you don't call an American woman and say, I want to send you money. He laughed at me. We get those same emails, you know. But, oh, yeah,
Oh, that's
it's
so funny.
the friends you get to meet, you know, through photography and through your travels and people I still keep in contact with. I'm sure you do too.
Yeah, everybody, you know, because as you know, I'm getting older, and a lot of my friends are getting older too. And
Sure.
you know, some of them are like, "Well, my husband died, and I'm lonely." I'm like, "You got to take up photography.
Oh, yeah. You bet.
You'll never be lonely."
No, there's no need to be.
There's just so many people that will go out and shoot with you, and I've met amazing friends, and I have, you know, one friend, the guy who takes me on the Everglades. He's in his 30s, you
Oh,
know.
my goodness.
But
Yeah.
he's like, or maybe he's 40. He's young though for
Sure.
me, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
he's just a friend, and it's cool having a young friend, and
It is.
you know,
It is.
And then
And there's so much information out there now too. If you don't know, I mean, look, you offer classes that you can take in the comfort. You can sit in your pajamas and watch your podcasts and take your classes and learn, and then practice it and stuff. So
and all the camera clubs. I mean, there are camera clubs everywhere.
everywhere.
You can go, even if there isn't a camera club in your area, you can find somebody to go out and shoot with. There's just so many people who are into photography,
Exactly.
and it's fun.
It's fun, and you can learn it.
And
It's-
you can never stop learning.
No.
Now you're going on a workshop with somebody
I
to
am.
photograph bats.
bats in flight. Not
Bats
just
in flight.
bats. They're going to be flying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now that's kind of creepy.
Yeah, I get a lot of funny looks from my friends when I say I'm going to go do these bats in flight. They're like, aren't they? And I get that. Aren't they going to get nestled in your hair? And no, they're not. They got awesome sonar systems. But we're going to play with trip triggers. We're going to play with laser lights that will set off our cameras. It's stuff I don't know anything about. I've not done that before.
That's so cool. I haven't either.
So
That's what I mean. You can
Yeah.
never stop learning.
Never.
There's so much. And then there's new stuff coming up, like the trip stuff. That probably, when did they invent that? I bet not that long ago.
Probably not that long ago. A lot of people do it with water drops and things like that, so you can use them in your, at your kitchen table if you want to. But, I'd
Yeah, 'cause
rather
I
go
still
out
do-
someplace and do bats in flight.
I still do my water drop photography the old-fashioned way, where I just time it and get ready and take,
which is cool because, again, that's like kind of shooting film, shooting digital. The basics and because you've practiced all of that, where digital's made things really easy and quick. And
Yeah.
I find people running around just snapping pictures randomly, hoping and saying, if I get one or two, and I'm thinking, you're going to take all those pictures to get one or two?
Yeah, and then you got to edit them, don't forget.
Oh, yeah.
Even if you don't edit them, you still got to look through them all.
Yeah.
That's,
So, no, I run a much higher rate than one or two.
That's cool. That
Yeah.
is cool. All right, so what else can you tell us? We've got what, 7 minutes left.
7
I want to
minutes,
talk
okay.
more about the travel stuff.
All right. As far as, like I said, doing your homework, knowing what you're going to see. I even look for what's either sites are there, or if I'm into, if it's an area of animals, I want to know what animals to look for. I need to know behaviors. Those are important. I look for important holidays,
Oh.
because those typically will give you some really nice photo ops. But the other thing that happens is that it could be a major holiday and the entire city is shut down.
Or you might want to avoid that time.
Yeah.
Yeah. It might be too
Indonesia.
crowded, and you say, I
Exactly.
don't want to go during the holiday.
Well, Indonesia does this time period of silence. So not only is there no place to eat if you need to go get a restaurant, because nobody can speak during that time. It's against the law.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so if you're there then, you better be prepared, or you're going to be pretty hungry by the time the following day rolls around, because you can't really leave, you can't go anywhere, you can't do anything. So I look at holidays, both for comfort and for some very cool photos.
Photo ops,
Yeah. See,
yeah.
I'd like to go back to India when they do the Holi festival with the color.
Oh,
Wouldn't
yeah.
that be cool? Yeah.
That would be cool.
I know. There's so much to
If
see
you
and
did
do.
that, though, you really have to do your research ahead of time, I bet, because
Yeah.
I bet that's hard to get the good pictures. And, you know, like
Yeah.
the photographers who take people to Venice during the carnival time.
Right.
They have everything set up ahead of time. They do all their shots in the middle of the night.
Yes.
Because it is so
it's nuts.
crowded. People
Yeah.
don't realize how crowded it is.
Exactly.
And if you're just there, you think, oh, I'm going to get these cool pictures.
Right.
You're going to be fighting with about 1,000 people.
Exactly. And then, you know, this is an advantage, too, of taking a trip with photographers and a leader, because they've done all that. And a lot of times they'll even pay the people, like in Venice, in the costumes
Yep.
and stuff.
I had
So
a guy on
it's-
my show, I can't remember who he is, but he's the one who does the middle of the night shoots and things like that. And he pays the actors, I don't know what you call them.
Probably a little both. So yeah, it would be, and they know where it's safe and where it's not safe. I'd love to do Carnival in Brazil.
Oh, yeah, that would be a good one, too.
Yeah, it would be. I've done it in Trinidad and Tobago. That was pretty fun. Yeah, so, you know, but they know where to go and where to set up and all of that kind of stuff. So that's always nice to do, too.
I
so.
agree. I always hire a guide. I love to
Yeah.
take photo trips. And you know
Exactly.
what? If you find somebody you like, yeah, like, because we have a lot of repeat people who take our tours wherever
Well,
we go,
yeah.
they'll go with us, but they also go on other people's tours too, because
Definitely.
we don't go everywhere.
Right.
You know?
Right. Or the timing might not work. Another prime example, which I know we didn't talk about, but I'm sure you won't mind if I bring up your book here. You know, you guys have already done the work and are figuring out where to go. When's the best time to do that? Okay, so I can either get out there and spend 2 weeks trying to figure it out. You've done it. I can purchase the book, which I do. I have a nice collection of these from different places and things, and literally look that up. And I trust you. You've done all that already. So
We're going to Acadia, and we bought the book. I don't remember what her name is that authored it, so I bought that for Joe, but I think I'm going to have to get it from him because I don't think he's doing his homework.
Don't do your homework. You might end up without a meal. Something might be happening and you miss it.
But yeah, we're going to Acadia National Park this summer.
Oh, cool.
4 of us. So.
Oh, that'll be fun. It's such a
Yeah.
beautiful area.
Have you been there?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I have.
I can't wait. I'm
Yeah.
excited.
There was a photo conference up in Portland.
Oh yeah.
And so I went, there was a PSA conference. So I went up to the PSA
oh.
conference, and then from there, my husband and I took off and did a bunch of other stuff through Maine. Well, I went up to see the moose. I mean, everybody sees the moose in Baxter, right?
Okay.
Everybody, they take photo tours up there to see the moose. So I arrive, I stop at the ranger station, of course. Where are you seeing them? What can you help me with? I'm a photographer, blah, blah, blah. Well, they just went into mating season. They all run into the woods. I got all the way up there to find that out because I didn't do my homework.
Ah, that's best advice you've given us. This
Yeah.
is really good. Do your homework.
Do your homework. I'm in California, and Louis Kemper's out there, and he posts up on Facebook, the best poppy season ever. I'm an hour and a half away. Call him up. Say, really? He says, yeah, get out here. If you're close, get out here. It's beautiful. So I get out there. He's right. Poppies are everywhere. They're just up the mountain. So stunning. So I'm laying in the poppy fields, getting my, focus on this poppy with the rest blurred out. And then, I'm doing the whole thing. You get the message. And this lady pulls up, and she is a electrical worker. And she's covered in, she's in her work clothes, right? What I thought, in leather chaps and boots. And she calls me, ma'am, come here. And I'm thinking, I'm photographing, but, you want to be nice. So I get up there. She goes, what are you doing? Cameras in the field. You're asking me this, photographing. She goes, do you realize this is the rattler snake mating season? And these fields are filled with them? I know. I gathered all of my stuff and tiptoed out of that because I don't like snakes. Tiptoed out of there.
Especially.
I know. I couldn't even get into my car because there was one right by my door. Yeah.
Oh my God, you're so
Again.
lucky she came along.
No kidding. Again, do your homework. I mean, I felt like an idiot.
I would have never thought of that. in a
That's
million
life and
years.
death stuff. That's just nuts.
I saw poppies for the first time when I went to France a few years ago. I never saw poppy. They don't have poppies in Michigan, do they?
We grow them. We don't have them
I've
wild.
never seen them.
I had them in my
Of course,
garden.
I'm from Detroit, so you know.
Well, yeah,
you
you
don't
had
see many
cement.
flowers.
There's a lot of cement over there.
Yeah, a lot of cement. But I was so excited to see them. But yeah, we were walking them.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't have rattlesnakes in France. I don't know.
I don't know either. I
I
would
didn't even
check
know.
before
I
I
wouldn't
laid
have
in
thought
there.
that they were. I know how to find them here. 'Cause
Yeah.
the palmettos.
Okay.
That's where they mate here.
Oh, is it?
And breed.
Okay, I was in the swamp, Corkscrew Swamp this morning, and I saw water moccasin, and I saw some black. They couldn't
Black racer. Those
probably.
Are,
Yeah.
The water
yeah.
moccasins are scary, but the other ones are.
They were just laying in there. I was on the, I stay on the boardwalk like I'm supposed to. I'm a good tourist.
So now, where can we find you?
You can find me on my website, kellywalkottenphotography.com.
And what's your next photo tour
My
that
next-
you're doing, that you're leading?
That I'm leading. I'm going out to Triple D Game Farm.
Where's that?
It's out in Montana, and I work with them. It's a game farm as such, but it's not a shoot, like bang bang kill 'em game farm.
Oh, I
It's a
see.
photography place, and they
It's
work
a shoot, click, click.
click click. That's right. Nothing's gonna die, and they're awesome to the animals out there. I have been behind the scenes. I have been in the back. I have been unannounced, showed up, and said, you know what? Can I see? Animals are just phenomenally taken care of. When they want to play with the trainer and have hugs for her first, that kind of tells you. It's wonderful. But it's
So when is
awesome.
that?
That one is in June of 19. I just did a winter one this last January.
I saw your pictures.
Yeah.
They were awesome.
They were cool. But the beauty, they have lots of space so the animals get to play and do their thing. They aren't forced. We've had shoots that we've had to reschedule because the animal just didn't feel like it.
Yeah.
That's all right. But that's the kind of what I'm looking
So
for.
it's a wildlife workshop.
But it's a wildlife workshop. But
you're
you're
going
guaranteed.
in June where it won't be freezing.
We're going
It's
when
still
there's
going to be cold though,
babies.
Oh,
Babies, it's baby
I
season.
love
So we're
babies.
looking at baby cats, some of the bobcats and lynx
oh,
and
how cute.
yeah, so that kind of thing.
So that's June 2019.
Of
But you
19.
also have something big coming up in July. What's that?
Oh yeah, I do. Gee.
Let's hear about that.
Well, I have this awesome
That's
speaker
July
coming.
2018.
Yes, July of 2018. We do I am president of the Southwestern Michigan Council of Camera Clubs.
Swimsy.
Swimsy is
I
what
think
we
that's
call
so
it.
cool.
And we put on a conference every the last weekend in June every year. This is the 49th year coming up.
Last weekend in July.
July, thank you. Yes.
Because I'm not going to be
You're
there
not going to
in
be in
June.
there in June. I know, we have you coming. I'm so excited. And I bring in speakers from all over. And there's lots of hands-on type of stuff as well as classroom lecture, but I really push hard, as you know, for a lot of hands-on so that you can come in and actually touch your cameras and use your cameras and take pictures and get them, you can decide right then and there if you like them and learn and all that stuff. I think you learn better in the field, personally. And so it's a weekend conference that
And that's
we
in
put on.
Holland, Michigan.
Beautiful Holland, Michigan, which is right up near the lake shore of Lake Michigan. People do not understand how big Lake Michigan is. It's 80 miles across, and I don't even know the length.
Yeah, it's huge.
It's huge. People, I
It's
have
like an ocean.
it looks like an ocean, and I
Really.
literally have friends from around the world that have come and they've had to taste the water because they didn't believe me that it was not salt. So that's kind of cool. And it's there at Holland, Michigan.
And Holland's an adorable
Oh,
town.
it is. It's just
I've only been there once.
it's a quaint,
but it's
quaint
just
town.
beautiful.
We're a block off the main street.
But no tulips in July.
No tulips in July. You're way too late for tulips. Yes.
Tulips are pretty soon, right?
Yes. Yes.
When are
now
the tulips?
they're starting now.
Oh, right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now. They'll do us early, a mid, and a late planting because they have this big tulip festival every year.
Yeah, that's when I went. I went
Oh,
for the
okay.
tulip
Did you go for the
festival when
tulip
I
festival?
lived in Michigan,
Oh,
yeah.
So yeah, that's coming up. Yeah, it's coming up this month actually. May. So we're not quite May yet, but yeah, and it's beautiful, quaint town. It's
And
we hold it right on a college campus.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so
A lot of conferences do that.
well, they've got the facilities right there. Meals are right there if you choose to eat there. Some people like to go into town and eat, but everybody, you kind of like, the beauty is if you come, you get to meet the speakers and the presenters because we eat together. that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it is really nice.
And you were the person who decided to volunteer to take it over. And this is your second year
Of being in
of
charge.
being the organizer.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
it is.
So I'm excited to come up.
I'm excited to have you.
I can't remember what I'm going to be speaking on, though. I just realized.
You're doing
Lighting.
lighting,
Studio lighting.
different types of studio
I
lighting
love
for
lighting.
us, and
I'm a lighting person.
yay.
And it's hard now because I teach a lot of nature photographers and they're not that interested in lighting. And it's
Oh,
like
but they
all my
need-
training's in the portrait photography, but I've been
That's
into
okay.
nature photography for like, what, 8, 9 years now. So,
Oh, but
but my whole background before that was all, and I'm into lighting.
which is
So
cool,
it'll be
and I
fun.
think lighting is hard for people to understand.
Not
People
when I
are
teach
afraid of
it.
it. What we're afraid of it as a not, as a nature photographer. The sun is what the sun is, and I work around the best lighting if I can, and what have you. But the beauty is, as a studio photographer, you can teach us how to set up that lighting to always get consistent shots. And
It's not that hard, even though it was hard for me. But then when I found out how easy it was, I was kind of mad that I had such technical teachers. But
oh,
anyway, Kelly Walkotten, photography.com.
yes,
And then what's the Swimsea website?
is www.swmccc.org.
And that's South.
Western Michigan Council of Camera Clubs
.org.
.org.
Swimsea. I
Yes.
love that. I'm
Yeah,
so
yeah,
glad I
yeah.
know that now.
Yep, we are a nonprofit. So all my we're volunteers, and yeah, it's really, it helps keep the cost down for everybody.
Yeah, it's very inexpensive.
I can't find a cheaper conference. I look for those. That's one of the things I kind of tout is, my conference is
Expensive,
very
but you've
affordable
got
to.
big speakers, and
Yeah, exactly.
it's going to be awesome.
It's fun. I'm glad you're coming.
Me too.
Thanks.
Well, thank you for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
She's traveling up from the Keys and going home.
Yep. Working my way up now.
Working your way.
Yeah.
So, thank you for watching the Understand Photography show. Tune in next week at 4 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. We're going to interview Constance Meyer. She's a nature photographer here in Florida. We're going to be talking about photographing from a canoe, which I'm kind of curious to see how she does that. I'm Peggy Farron. Thank you for watching episode 85 of the Understand Photography show. We'll see you next week. Thank you for watching the Understand Photography show. It would help us immensely if you would click like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.